Hi, my name is Delaney Schlesinger-Devlin, and today I'll be interviewing David about his co-op.
Hi, I'm David Klasovsky. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm here to talk about my internships. I had two part-time jobs, one with the law office of Phillip Brigham as a legal assistant, and the other as a science and policy internship doing air quality work for Environmental Law and Policy Center.
So you just said a lot of really cool words, but what the heck did you actually do?
Yeah, so I worked my morning shifts at Phillip's law office, and a lot of what I did there, it was a mix of things. I did case law studying, I did some legal writing for like internal memos, and I did administrative work, which a lot of that consisted of like sorting through documents, sort of double checking, making sure, looking for discrepancies in what people were saying was going on with like financials and whatnot. Those were the bulk of my responsibilities. And I also got to attend a couple hearings.
Why were you interested in this? How did you even get this co-op? Those are my questions.
Yeah, so when it came to Phillip's office, I was interested because I want to go to law school. My major is called Environmental Studies and Political Institutions. I've been interested in environmental justice and just the law in general. So I learned a lot about social justice through this co-op, but I was able to get into contact because Phillip is an alumni. So I talked to Rick Krantz, and he helped set up an interview, and I was able to go from there and find a place to stay and got to work on that. My other internship, where I didn't get to mention earlier, but I did a lot of air quality monitoring, which was sort of just walking through on a route that was given to me by my supervisor, just picking up air quality, particularly where school buses were, because there's a program being worked on to put renewable energy into the school buses and make it more eco-friendly. And so that was just a lot of walking and air monitoring. But getting into that, that was sort of based on my own research. There are no alumni connections there, but they had a posting on their website, and I wanted to be involved with some of that work and see what it felt like.
Okay, you're talking a lot about testing for air quality, and in my mind, you're just like taking scoops of air and putting it in a bottle. But how do you actually test for air quality?
Yeah, so in a way, you're not too far off. But so there was the monitor, there are a variety of monitors for this kind of thing because it depends on what pollutants you're testing for. I was testing for particulate matter, which is basically microscopic particles of solids that are smaller than like pieces of dust or smaller than hairs. So they're almost imperceptible, but they can get in your bloodstream, be very deadly. So basically, the monitor I have was called an Airbeam 2, and what it does is it sucks in air, and there's a laser that projects. And when that is blocked, how much that laser is blocked from one end to the other, after it gets filtered in, that gives you a reading on how much particulates are in that sample. And so that's how it works on the technical side.
How do you know if a particulate is like an okay particulate to breathe in or a bad one, or it's just none of them are good?
Well, yeah, none of them are really good. I mean, of course, when you talk about like bacteria and stuff, a lot of those things are facts of life. When we're talking about particulates, what can happen is like in these particulates, they can absorb a lot of harmful chemicals. They can be water soluble, and they can absorb like metals, and toxic metals are very harmful to your bloodstream, and so just the way that they interface with other chemicals is sort of what the real danger is. Like I said, there are of course things that are more or less harmful than others, but that's the basic premise. Something I learned was about like using QGIS. You take the data and you map it, and you get this visual representation, and you can see like clusters of spots where at this school, when this bus is picking up the students, like, its filtration system at this is so bad that, air quality spikes up here. But you can also see on busier roads, you even get like moderate increases because a lot of trucks are passing through. So you get a sense of, by visualizing it, what are the areas to focus on, and some buses had like more eco-friendly fuel or better engines, so they were, and I learned this from just talking to bus drivers, and you find out about, because some of these were privately contracted, they weren't all done through the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago. So you just learn about how different aspects of like the economy are influenced by these policies or lack thereof.
What part of your co-op was your favorite part of your co-op, or your least favorite, or something along those lines?
Yeah. So I mean, while I learned a lot with the air monitoring, a lot of that was just walking around, and it can become very tedious. So I would listen to audiobooks while I was in there.
You should give me, what's your best audiobook that you listened to while doing this project?
Well, I only listened to two, but the first one was some free market trite. So I was just trying to like dissect it, but the other one was Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky, and I forget the other guy's name. But it's a fantastic book, and I definitely want to buy it now, having listened to it. But yeah, it was but that's like, I had to do that because of the monotony of like the job. Even though I learned a lot, I don't want to discredit the people at ELPC either. It was great. My supervisor, Tiffany, was super helpful and fantastic. But working at Phillip's office was, I think I learned even more, and I think I learned more of what I enjoyed by getting to do, and I got a variety of experiences doing different aspects of legal work in that. And Phillip is just such a nice guy, and he's very accommodating. He's great for questions. He allows you to, he helps you through the process. He lets you sit in when he's having virtual statuses, and he shares office space with a couple other lawyers that he works with on cases, and they were some great people as well. So it was a really nice atmosphere overall. So I would say that working in his office was my favorite part.
What type of lawyer is Phillip? Like, what type of casework does he do?
Yeah, so Phillip's two primary areas are family law and criminal law. He also does some international law as well, but I know that the bulk of his work is those two areas, and I got to work on at least one of each. So something that I didn't know before was how to cite and research case law. I had to look for similarities between the case that we were dealing with and cases in the past for precedent, and had to be able to differentiate, though, as well as find the similarities, so that when you're constructing an argument, you're not depending too much on something that is that could end up being different. And because then the judge will look at that and say, well, this is different because reasons X, Y, Z, therefore your argument is not quite valid.
So what advice would you give yourself before you had gone on this co-op?
Take more of an opportunity to explore the city. It took me a little bit from those first couple weeks to really get out of my shell of like, and I was, I was a little homesick at first, and it was a little rough. I don't, even in general, like being alone is, I prefer to be around people. And so, it was a little rough, but I would say, but being in the city and getting to experience the city of Chicago, beyond a sort of touristy, superficial sort of way, was very meaningful. And I feel like I got to see a little bit of every part of Chicago, on my own and with some other alumni, facilitation. So it was I think just getting to do more of that, I think would be the advice that I would give.
What would you tell other students who might be interested in co-oping either at Phillip Brigham's office or doing air quality work, those sort of things?
Yeah, well, I would say with Phillip, like he said, I'll spare him having to say it to you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. He is there to help, and he understands, as an Antioch student, he understands that it's about being a learning experience. Working with ELPC, I would say if that is something you want to do, it isn't just about air quality. There are a variety of opportunities that they have. There's go on their website, and they have the internships. They offer them summer, fall, and spring. So take your pick, find what speaks to you, and even if it's not something that you have fully have a lot of background knowledge in, it's a great learning experience, and they are great people. And about Chicago, just have fun, go wild in the city. Like,
did you go wild in the city?
No. And I almost went to a bar there, but I decided instead to just get insomnia cookies and watch Vampire Diaries. Still a very queer experience. But yeah, it was not just the touristy places. I remember I had to walk like 25 minutes from a train station or subway station to a Chicago dog place that was like right next to the on-ramp of a freeway. And it was like and there were a good amount of people there, but it was definitely like felt more tucked away.
So how do you see this co-op affect your Antioch career, whether that's in your self-design major or in your capstone research? How's that going to affect you long term?
Yeah. So I can definitely say working with Phillip had an influence on the way that I view like how I want to work with the law in the future. I began considering at that point more like criminal justice, social justice, things that are beyond environmental justice. Although with environmental justice, things about race and class are all interrelated, just as they are in the criminal justice system.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for interviewing me.
Of course. Cool. Awesome. See? Quick, easy, pretty painless.
Yeah.